Sometimes, the ground under a family can shift when you least expect it. It's not always the initial shock of a divorce, but years later, when a parent decides to step back into the world of romance. Think about this, more than a third of men find a new partner within 10 years of a divorce happening later in life. For their adult children, this new chapter might feel less like a happy sequel and more like an unwelcome plot twist, stirring up tensions that catch many families by surprise. Life after divorce brings its own set of challenges, especially when adult children are in the picture. Today, we're looking at a deeply personal and increasingly common situation. A parent, years after a marriage has ended, starts looking for new companionship, only to find their adult child really struggling to accept this new reality. We'll explore this through the story of Alex, a 54-year-old man, and his 24-year-old daughter, Lisa. Alex is cautiously, even hopefully, dipping his toes back into the dating scene after a decade of being single post-divorce. Lisa, an independent young woman, is, to put it mildly, not okay with it. This isn't just Alex and Lisa's story, it's a situation playing out in countless families. And it brings up some pretty big questions. How can a parent find personal happiness in a new relationship without pushing their grown children away? And how can adult children understand that their parents starting a new journey doesn't mean the bond they share is any less important? We'll explore the emotional complexities from both sides, look at common pitfalls, and talk about ways to encourage understanding and keep family connections healthy. The idea isn't to point fingers, but to find a path toward empathy and, hopefully, resolution. Many adult children find it tough to adjust when their parents start dating again. Alex is 54. It's been 10 years since his divorce, a decade he spent rebuilding, focusing on his career, and most importantly, making sure Lisa had a stable and loving environment. Now, Lisa is 24, making her own way in the world, and Alex feels a sense of readiness, a desire for companionship, for shared laughter, for the warmth of a partner. It's a gentle hope, like the first signs of spring after a long winter. He's not trying to replace what he lost, but maybe to build something new. Lisa is bright and doing well for herself, and she's always been close to her father. Even though she lives on her own, their bond is a steady presence in her life. So, when Alex, with a mix of hope and nervousness, mentioned he was thinking about dating again, he hadn't bargained for just how negative her reaction would be. It wasn't just lack of interest, it was a clear disapproval, a chill that suddenly settled over their usually warm conversations. Phrases like, "Dad, why now?" and "It just feels weird," were loaded with an unspoken hurt and resistance that left Alex feeling confused and disheartened. This kind of scenario is anything but unique. When a parent starts dating again, especially after a long marriage and divorce, it changes the family landscape, even when the children are adults. For these adult children, the shift can be deeply unsettling. The established dynamics, the familiar roles, even the memories tied to the family unit can feel threatened or changed for good. Lisa's not okay reaction sums up a whole range of emotions adult children often wrestle with: confusion, anxiety, loyalty conflicts, and a feeling of being displaced. The challenge for Alex is clear. How does he pursue his own very real need for happiness while also helping Lisa navigate her complicated feelings and understand that his new path doesn't cancel out or devalue their relationship? This is a big deal because unresolved conflict can really strain the parent-child bond, affecting not just their day-to-day interactions but the long-term health of their family. Lisa's firm "not okay" isn't coming from a place of malice, it's woven from a complex mix of emotions that are pretty common for adult children when a parent starts dating again. One of the strongest currents pulling at her is often a lingering loyalty to her mother. Even a decade after the divorce, the image of her parents as a unit, however broken it became, can stick around. Alex dating someone new might feel to Lisa like a betrayal of that original family structure, or like it somehow dismisses her mother's role in their history. She might be thinking, if Dad is happy with someone new, does that mean Mom wasn't enough? Does it make our family life before seem like a lie? This kind of loyalty conflict can be really intense, creating a silent pressure to disapprove of the new partner or even the act of dating itself. Fear is another big factor. Lisa might worry about her father getting hurt again. He went through the pain of divorce once, she wouldn't want to see him vulnerable to heartache from a new relationship. This protective instinct, while well-meaning, can show up as resistance. Then there's the fear of change. Adult children, even though they're independent, often find comfort in the stability of their parental relationships. Alex dating introduces an unknown. Who is this new person? How will they fit into family gatherings, if they do at all? Will holidays, which are often loaded with tradition and memory, feel different, awkward, or even painful? These questions can churn up a lot of anxiety. The feeling of displacement is also very real. For years, especially if Alex wasn't dating, Lisa might have held a special place in his life, maybe as his main confidant or the primary focus of his fatherly affection. A new partner can feel like an intruder, someone competing for her father's time, attention, and emotional energy. She might worry, will Dad still have time for me? Will our one-on-one moments get pushed aside for dates or time with his new partner? She needs reassurance that she's not being replaced. Research shows that adult stepchildren often wrestle with loyalty conflicts and can feel pressure to build a relationship with the new partner. Beyond all that, simply seeing a parent in a new romantic light can be jarring. Parents are often seen in a specific, almost non-romantic role. Confronting their parents' sexuality and their desire for romantic intimacy can make adult children uncomfortable, forcing them to see their parent as a whole person, beyond just dad. Some studies also suggest that the mother-daughter bond can be particularly strong, and daughters grieving the loss of the original family unit may find it especially tough to accept their father's new romantic partners. Alex might remember a specific moment, perhaps he casually mentioned a pleasant coffee date, and Lisa's response was to abruptly change the subject, or to offer a clipped, "That's nice," in a tone that screamed discomfort. Or maybe she flat out refused to hear about it, saying, "Dad, I just don't want to know." These are all signals of her internal struggle. It's important to recognize that these feelings are valid and common. They don't necessarily mean Lisa is being unreasonable, just that she's processing a major emotional event. While Lisa's feelings are valid and absolutely deserve understanding, Alex's needs and desires are just as legitimate. At 54, after a decade focused on his post-divorce life, which heavily revolved around being a father, the quiet in his personal life has grown louder. The human need for companionship, for a partner to share life's ups and downs, doesn't just disappear with age or marital status. For Alex, getting back into dating isn't about replacing Lisa's mother or trying to recapture his youth. It's about seeking connection, mutual support, and the simple happiness that can come from a fulfilling adult relationship. The emotional world of a divorced person looking for new love can be tricky. There might be a history of hurt, a cautiousness learned from past experiences, but also a resilient hope for what's next. Loneliness can feel like a heavy weight, and the thought of sharing his life, his thoughts, his days, his future, with someone new can be incredibly appealing and, frankly, a healthy thing to want. Alex, like anyone, deserves the chance to pursue this happiness. A critical point that Alex needs to feel, and perhaps gently help Lisa understand over time, is that his search for a partner doesn't, in any way, lessen his love for her or his role as her father. This is a common fear for children, even adult ones, that a new person in their parents' life will water down the affection they receive or fundamentally change their bond. Alex's heart is big enough to love a partner and continue to love his daughter with the same depth and commitment he always has. His role as dad is sacred and permanent. His role as partner is a separate, though important, part of his adult life. The challenge for Alex, and for many parents in his shoes, is balancing his personal needs with sensitivity towards his daughter's feelings. He might be wrestling with guilt. Is it selfish to want his own happiness if it causes Lisa distress? He might feel frustrated. Doesn't she want him to be happy? He might even feel a little resentful of her resistance, especially if he feels he's dedicated so much of his life to her well-being. Internally, Alex might be having conversations with himself. I love Lisa more than anything. But I'm also lonely. Surely, there's a way to have both a partner and my daughter's understanding? This internal tug-of-war highlights the delicate balancing act he's performing. He wants to be considerate of Lisa's emotional world, but he also doesn't want to put his own life on hold indefinitely because of her disapproval, especially now that she's an adult with her own life. If Alex and Lisa's story is hitting home for you, or if you found yourself in similar family situations where a parent's new relationship is causing ripples, we genuinely like to hear from you in the comments below. Sharing your experiences, respectfully, can offer valuable insights and support to others in our community who might be going through the same thing. And if you appreciate these kinds of discussions on family relationships and personal growth, please consider subscribing for more content. Often, the gap between Alex's desire for a new chapter and Lisa's discomfort gets wider because of a communication breakdown, or communication that's filled with unspoken anxieties and assumptions. Bridging this gap means both sides need to commit to open, honest, yet carefully boundaried conversations. This is really where the heart of their struggle lies. Can they learn to truly talk and listen to each other effectively? For Alex, how he approaches these conversations is key. First, he needs to share his intentions clearly, calmly, and without apologizing for them, but with empathy. This isn't about asking for Lisa's permission, he's an adult, after all, but about sharing his feelings and his decision. He might say something like, "Lisa, I want you to know that I've started dating again. This is something that's becoming important to me for my own happiness. I understand this might feel strange or bring up some feelings for you, and I want to be able to talk about that." Then, and this is crucial, Alex must be ready to genuinely listen to Lisa's concerns without immediately getting defensive or trying to tell her her feelings are wrong. If Lisa says, "It just feels like you're trying to replace mom," a defensive answer like, "That's ridiculous, of course I'm not," will just shut the conversation down. A better approach would be, "I hear you saying it feels like I'm trying to replace your mom. Can you tell me more about why it feels that way? I want to assure you that no one could ever replace her or the family we had." Alex should also be careful not to overshare intimate details of his dating life. Lisa is his daughter, not his confidant for romantic matters. Keeping this boundary is important. On Lisa's side, the challenge is to express her feelings respectfully, even if those feelings are anger, confusion, or sadness. Instead of accusatory statements like, "You don't care how this makes me feel," she could try using I statements. "Dad, when you talk about dating, I feel because." This lets her share her emotions without immediately putting Alex on the defensive. It's also important for Lisa to try and see her father not just as dad, but as an individual with his own emotional needs and the right to seek happiness. This doesn't mean she has to be thrilled about his dating life, but acknowledging his perspective is a step towards understanding. Ideally, adult children evolve to relate to their parents more as fellow adults, recognizing their independence. When this kind of careful communication doesn't happen, the tension just builds. Misunderstandings take root. Alex might see Lisa's silence as stubborn disapproval, while Lisa might see Alex's attempts to date as him being insensitive to her feelings. Imagine this, Alex excitedly mentions he has a dinner date. Lisa responds with a sigh and, "Whatever, Dad," then walks out of the room. Alex feels stung and misunderstood. Lisa feels unheard and like her feelings don't matter. If this type of interaction happens repeatedly, it builds walls. The real turning point is whether they can break this cycle. Perhaps Alex could try again later, when things are calm, saying, "Lisa, I noticed you seemed upset when I mentioned my dinner date. I'm not trying to upset you. Can we talk about what's bothering you, so I can understand better?" This invitation to talk, without immediate pressure, can be a vital opening. If these efforts don't happen, or if they fail, that's where communication truly breaks down, making any kind of resolution much harder to find. A really important part of navigating this tricky family transition is setting healthy boundaries, clear lines that define respectful interaction and protect everyone's individual space, for both Alex and Lisa. These aren't meant to be walls to keep each other out, but more like guidelines for how they'll engage around the sensitive topic of Alex's dating life. For Alex, setting boundaries means recognizing that while he should be sensitive to Lisa's feelings, his decision to date is ultimately his own. He doesn't need her approval, though her understanding would certainly be welcome. His boundary might involve deciding how much information to share. He can let Lisa know he's dating, but he doesn't need to give her a play-by-play of every date. A really key boundary is around introducing a new partner. It's generally a good idea to wait until a relationship is serious and seems like it has long-term potential before bringing children into it, even adult ones. When an introduction does happen, it should be gradual and low pressure, not an expectation that Lisa will immediately welcome this new person as part of the family. Alex should also draw a line for himself. He can't force a relationship between Lisa and his new partner. He can hope they might get along, but he can't make it happen. He might say something like, "Lisa, if this relationship becomes serious, I'd like for you to meet her someday, when you're comfortable." There's no pressure. For Lisa, setting boundaries means respecting her father's independence and his right to make his own life choices, even if she doesn't fully agree with them. She's an adult, and so is he. Her boundary might be about how much she wants to hear about his dating life. She could say, "Dad, I understand you're dating, and I'm trying to be okay with that. For now, though, I'd prefer not to hear all the details. Maybe just let me know if it becomes something serious." This is a respectful way for her to manage her own comfort levels without trying to control her father's actions. She also needs to set some internal boundaries against feeling overly responsible for her father's emotional well-being in his romantic life, or feeling like she needs to approve his choices. Part of how the parent-adult-child relationship grows is by recognizing each other as separate individuals with their own independent lives. Lisa doesn't have control over Alex's decisions, just like he no longer has control over hers. The main idea here is mutual respect for each other's independence. Alex needs to respect Lisa's emotional process and her need for space, if that's what she needs. Lisa needs to respect Alex's right to build a new life that includes romantic companionship. Imagine Alex is dating someone and it's getting serious. He wants Lisa to meet her. A boundary-setting conversation might involve Alex saying, "I'm seeing someone I care about, and I'd like for you to meet her when the time feels right for both of us." What are your thoughts on that? This invites Lisa into the conversation instead of just making a demand. Lisa, in turn, might respond, "Thanks for telling me, Dad. I appreciate that. I think I need a little more time to get used to the idea. Can we talk about it again in a few weeks?" This kind of exchange, while it might still be a bit awkward, shows an attempt from both sides to respect boundaries and communicate their needs, which is much more constructive than unspoken resentment or forced meetings. It allows both parent and child to navigate this new territory with a sense of control and mutual consideration. Even with the best intentions for communication and boundaries, Lisa's resistance might continue. This is where Alex needs patience and to keep leading with empathy, while Lisa might need to do some deeper self-reflection to understand and manage her reactions. The goal shifts from getting immediate acceptance to finding a sustainable balance that respects everyone's feelings and needs. If Lisa remains resistant, Alex should first try to acknowledge her feelings without brushing them aside. Phrases like, "I understand this is still difficult for you, and I'm not trying to ignore your feelings," can be much more effective than showing frustration. He should continue to reassure her of his unwavering love and her importance in his life. It's vital for Lisa to hear, maybe more than once, that a new partner will not replace her or weaken their bond. Giving Lisa time and space is also really important. Healing and adjustment don't happen overnight. Forcing interactions or constantly pushing the topic can backfire, making her dig her heels in even more. Alex should definitely avoid any attempts to make Lisa have a relationship with his dates. If his daughter isn't ready or willing to meet a new partner, pressing the issue will likely only create more resentment. For Lisa, dealing with her own resistance involves some internal work. She might need to ask herself, what am I really afraid of here? Is this truly about my dad's happiness, or is it about my own discomfort, my loyalty to mom, or my fear of our family dynamic changing even more? Talking to a trusted friend, a sibling, or even a neutral third party like a counselor could give her a safe space to explore these complex emotions without putting the burden on her father or mother. It's important she avoids making her other parent a sounding board for complaints about Alex's dating, as this can create even more family drama. Instead, focusing on the consistency of her father's love and their established relationship, despite the new changes, can be a helpful anchor. She can remind herself that her father's new relationship is about his life, not a reflection on her or her mother. The path to resolution might not mean Lisa enthusiastically embracing Alex's new partner or his dating life. A more realistic and healthy outcome might be a respectful understanding, a state where Lisa can accept her father's choice, even if she doesn't fully love it, and Alex can pursue his happiness while being sensitive to Lisa's feelings. Finding balance also means Alex consciously makes dedicated one-on-one time for Lisa, ensuring their unique bond is nurtured. This could be their regular Sunday calls, a monthly dinner, or shared activities that have always been their thing. This reassures Lisa that she remains a priority. Imagine Alex has been dating someone for several months. Lisa is still hesitant. Instead of pushing for a group dinner, Alex might say, "Lisa, I know you're still getting used to the idea of me dating. How about we just have our usual Saturday brunch next week, just you and me? I'd love to catch up properly." This prioritizes their connection. Later, if Lisa shows even a small sign of softening, perhaps asking a neutral question about his new partner, Alex can respond gently and honestly, without overwhelming her with information. This gradual approach, focusing on maintaining their direct relationship while allowing space for adjustment to the new circumstances, offers the best chance for a positive long-term outcome. It's about evolution, not revolution, in their family dynamic. The journey of a divorced parent re-entering the dating world, especially when an adult child like Lisa voices strong disapproval, is, without a doubt, complex. As we've seen through Alex and Lisa's story, it touches on deep-seated emotions, established family dynamics, and the fundamental human need for both connection and stability. There are no easy answers, no one-size-fits-all solutions. However, the path toward a more harmonious outcome is paved with real effort from everyone involved. The main takeaways here are pretty clear. Open, honest, and empathetic communication isn't just important, it's the very foundation upon which understanding can be built. This means listening just as much as speaking, validating feelings even when you don't fully agree with them, and approaching tough conversations with a desire for resolution rather than conflict. Setting and respecting healthy boundaries is just as vital, allowing both the parent and the adult child to maintain their own space and navigate this new terrain with a sense of personal integrity. It's so important to remember that both Alex's desire for companionship and Lisa's feelings of discomfort are valid. Neither one cancels out the other. The challenge, and indeed the opportunity, lies in finding a way for these truths to coexist. A parent's new relationship doesn't have to mean the end of a close parent-child bond. Rather, it can be an evolution of that bond, one that makes room for new people and new chapters while honoring the enduring connection. For Alex and Lisa, and for anyone in a similar situation, the journey may be slow and require ongoing adjustment. There will likely be moments of frustration and misunderstanding. But with patience, a commitment to mutual respect, and a focus on the love that forms the bedrock of their relationship, they can navigate this transition. The family structure may change, but the family itself, in its essence, can remain strong and supportive, allowing each member to pursue their own path to happiness. What are your biggest challenges or successes when it comes to family changes, like a parent dating again after divorce? We invite you to share your thoughts and experiences respectfully in the comment section below. Your insights could be incredibly helpful to others facing similar situations. For more content dedicated to navigating life's transitions, understanding complex family dynamics, and fostering personal growth, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And remember, if these issues are causing significant distress in your life or family, seeking guidance from a qualified family therapist or counselor can provide invaluable support and strategies for moving forward.